89X, the only new rock alternative. Nirvana, Lake of Fire. It is the Morning X, Dave and Chuck the Freak.
Very special treat.
Yes.
On the Morning X right now.
Thank you. Thank you,
Very excited that Ed from Radiohead is joining us on the X Lines. Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. How are you?
We are doing great,
good.
thank you. It's first of all a pleasure to talk to you, man, and we love the new album.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We, of course, I'm sure you've been answering questions like this a lot, but we have to start talking about the fact that you guys decided to put In Rainbows up online for digital download. You kind of went away from your record label EMI and decided you would do this online, and people could pay whatever they wanted. They could pay, I think there was a limit on how much they could pay, but they could...
The limit was £99.99p.
Huh.
Which would probably work out to be, what, about $200 US, right?
Yeah, exactly. Probably about 400 by the end of the day.
Oh, wow. So that's how much they could pay, and then they could pay nothing if they wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, first of all, why did you decide to do this?
Well, as you quite rightly said, we were out of contract with EMI. We were in this very fortunate position because, you know, obviously things have been changing in the last few years. And one of the things that we wanted to embrace was the fact that there's a whole load of people out there who are not used to paying for their music, you know.
Right.
And we didn't want to criminalize them because, you know, it's who are we to say that you have to pay for our music? Ideally, we'd like you to, but there are, you know, we used to do home taping when we were kids. It's just a more sophisticated way of home taping nowadays. So we wanted to sort of embrace that, or not embrace it, but confront that in a sort of in a mature way. And also, we wanted to treat people as responsible human beings, as opposed to saying, right, well, you're going to pay $5 for this or whatever, or the whole point was to turn around and say, well, you know, what do you think? What do you want to pay for it?
Right.
And I think what's interesting is that there's a dialogue that you know, I don't think we started it, but people have sort of... the dialogue has always been on the behalf of the people in the record industry who said, music is worth this, music is worth that. Nobody's actually turned it around and said, well, what do the punters think? So we wanted to do that, and that seemed like the honesty box, as we called it, was the idea that you could get the music for free. You know, our last 3 records have been leaked on the internet anyway. So we were in a way kind of leaking it and saying, what do you want to pay for it? What do you think? And it was great fun. It was so exciting to do that, you know.
It turned out really well. I mean, a lot of people decided to, you know, like, really, there were people that decided to, you know, donate $1 or whatever, but some people really came through, and I guess you have to, you know, if you love Radiohead, like people that listen to this station love Radiohead, and it was one of our big messages, too, before it even came out, was like, understand if you want bands that you love to stick around and do this stuff, you have to support them. And it was like really just giving, you know, so if someone really loves you, they're going to give you the £99.
Yeah, and also that person who doesn't have that much money and they bust a gut to, you know, $5 is the most that they can give, and they've thought about it. You know, that stuff is as good. So yeah, I agree totally.
You know, and as an artist, and you're putting your work out there, and you know, hoping the public will purchase it. It always amazes me that people have download music for free so often, because I think about the music that I love and how often I listen to those albums and how much joy they bring me.
Yeah,
right.
And I think about the fact that you can buy that for $13, or I could spend, you know, or that can get me a couple of cups of coffee at Starbucks that are done in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It blows me away that people have such a hard time forking out a couple of bucks for a really good album.
But then, how old are you?
35.
Yeah.
Okay, you see, I'm 39, and we're of a different generation. I mean, we hear stories of, like, you know, college campuses in America where no one owns CD players. They've got hard drives.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing, and I you know, these, you know, I don't know if I was 17 or 18, if I had the access to all these, you know, BitTorrent sites and all this hard drive, whether, in all honesty, I would go like, well, you know what, you sometimes don't make that connection. You go, well, like, music is for free, and I was very inspired. I heard a great interview with Quincy Jones a year ago, and he's like, he's like the Buddha of the music world. He's an amazing man in what he's achieved. And the interviewer said to him, "So you worried about the state of the music industry? You frightened for, less people are selling less records, and the advent particularly of people downloading music for free?" And he was great, and he was like, "No, man," he said, "I'm really excited." He said, "But what you have to remember is the genie is out of the bottle." And what he meant by that is that music, there's a whole generation now who don't expect to pay for music, and it's not in my position to go, you're wrong for doing that, because it's a cultural thing. I mean, I think hopefully as these people get older, they'll learn the responsibility that if you want to, like you said, if you want to support artists, and you have to, it helps to pay them. But at the same time, I don't want to criminalize. It'd be terrible to criminalize these people, and maybe we're moving to an age whereby music is going to essentially be, albums are going to be free, and people are going to pay for the gigs, and that seems to be what's happening. And I think it's a bit, technology has led all of this, and we'd be very naive or foolish to sort of try and fight that.
Now, at the same time as there's the digital download of In Rainbows, for people like me, where I like to own the physical album and be able to go through it and have it on my shelf, and it's there and it's mine. It's also available too.
It's the
in
number
source,
one
and
album.
It's the number one album.
Yeah, baby.
That's got to be nice.
That's
even
cool.
though, reportedly, I know you guys didn't officially release any numbers, but reportedly there were 1.2 million digital downloads sold of the album,
and that's just the legal ones.
Yeah. And then you go on and release it through a label, and it's the number one album on Billboard this week. That's got to be great.
It's amazing, and you're always blown away. We were number one here in the UK and in Ireland and France and Canada and America, but this is only our second number one in America, and it's still, we heard 2 days ago, we've been rehearsing in our studio, and we're still blown away. And Philip put the champagne on ice, and it's. Yeah, it's a great. It makes us very proud. We've done a different route. We're with a fledgling independent label, TBD, and it's their first proper release, and it goes number one, and they've done amazingly. And it's amazing.
So you're speaking of now the fact that a lot of artists are going to have to tour in order to support themselves. You guys are doing just that. You're heading out on the road, and you have some dates released, but unfortunately, we don't see a Detroit date.
Yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at least maybe I know you haven't released all the information yet, but
there might be one out there.
We see Chicago, Cleveland.
Maybe we could squeeze into St. Andrews Hall like we did all those years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
That would be
please.
unbelievable.
Please do.
Could you do that? Can we get you committed right here, right now?
And if we could score some tickets, that would be cool.
I add a disclaimer to that. I got great memories of St. Andrews Hall, man. I think the first two tours we played at St. Andrews Hall, and we like I remember the end of the gigs, 11 o'clock finishing, load out, because we were loading out our gear in those days and stuff like that. And it scared the hell out of us. It was full on 93. We were in the middle of Detroit can be quite. I mean, I'm very interested about it, and obviously Motown and the whole of the motor industry. But when we went in 93, it was looking a little bit shabby around the edges.
Yeah, St. Andrews especially.
Scared the hell out of us, man.
Well, I'm sure
let me
we
tell
can.
you, it's a little better now.
Yeah, we can get you in a nice place.
We used to go to these places like Cleveland and Detroit, and I have memories of my childhood, like in the 70s, early 70s, and you see footage of these great cities like Detroit and Cleveland, full employment, you've got a full-on workforce, and then you go and visit them some 20 years later, and it's like, oh my God, what has happened?
Yeah.
So, but good on the people of Detroit,
Yeah, we've had some hard times.
Yeah,
we're not going to lie.
No question.
We're going through some tough times right now, too. But, hey, with everything, there is nothing better to take your mind off your crap than going to see a band you love perform. And it's at a small venue. Some of the greatest memories of my life are seeing a band I love perform at an intimate venue where you feel like you're there with them. You're performing with them almost. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we wish you all the best.
Yes.
We're thrilled with your success, and we hope what you've done enlighten people a little bit and encourages people to pay for their music a little more.
I think it's going to change everything. This might be the new way people do stuff, and it's very exciting.
That's cool, and thanks very much for the kind words, guys. And hopefully, we'll see you and your listeners in the summer.
Very cool.
Ed O'Brien from Radiohead. Thank you so much, man.
Good stuff. Thank you, chaps.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.